Hello, guys, and welcome to episode 2 of Alternate Future of What If Civilization Started Over. In the last episode, we saw the beginning of World War Five. Um, yeah, pretty much shows it. There's nothing else to really go for because that's all there was last episode. But this is now my fourth time having to re-record this episode. This time, as you can see up here, I accidentally saved this as Alternate Future of What If Civilization Started Over, Episode 2. So I lost the map. But let's get started with this. Alright, so starting up here in Siberia, we do see the Siberians having a bit of success in pushing Tibet out. Gotta head that up. So we see Tibet fully pushed out of the Siberians as their forces are kind of focusing on the bigger threat being China. But Tibet's definitely got something up their sleeve because they're just pushing straight through China. And they definitely should not be. Let's all agree. China's focusing all its forces out here and they're getting pushed back like this. And yeah, they've got India helping China, helping out Tibet, but India's also kind of fighting over here too still. And there's like Persia and these guys, but otherwise they're not getting a whole lot of help. But we see that still not really matter because China is still getting just destroyed right now in this war. India is able to push China all the way out of their territory and into China. But, um, and we now see China. India pushes into South China, and Vietnam continues their push, being the only ones to capture a major city other than Tibet with this one. We see Siberia will push a bit into the Amur country. However, Siberia is going to focus its forces over here to fight against Tibet. Although we still see parts of Manchuria, including three major cities, being liberated. However, unluckily for Manchuria, Korea has captured their capital. Er, Up here, we alright. So up here, we see the Pentagon Alliance is kind of seeing this as the perfect time to get rid of a certain country who they've all hated. Let's be honest, who does like Russia? Definitely not me after episode 90 and 91. But, especially after 91, that peace treaty was not good. But we see Finland rejoining the Pentagon Alliance. Technically, they're not, like, joining it. This is, actually, I'm going to do what, why can't I remember who I saw do this? Well, hey, at least I figured that out before I actually did all this stuff. you know, okay, there. That'll work. Alright, pretend that never happened, but we see Finland, pink Kazakhstan, that's light blue nation, Greece, down here, the Farmers Union, this, this brownish country, and Azov. No, wait, not Azov, actually. We're gonna move south. And for the actual final nation, it is the Sierra Siberian nation. this this coalition is focused on taking out the Russians. They're not really too worried about all of the other Triangle Alliance members, other than Kazakhstan. But these guys may or may not also be silently supplying Tibet, which is kind of, I mean, it explains a little bit why they're so much stronger, but not a whole lot. Alright, alright. So, you can see all these countries joining, but they're not the only ones who get members, as we see a couple nations joining the Triangle Alliance. Rome, Rome joins it. This is the one that Azov actually joins. We see this Tyrol. No, this is a Tyrol. I don't remember this what some people call this country. Um, and lastly, these guys right here, they join. So, yeah, it's not a whole lot more joining, and they're all quite weak too, but still could do some, could be a little distraction over here for Caucasia. And speaking of Caucasia, we see them making the first move from the coalition. Turn it down. Jeez. But this satire route, no, this light blue nation here though didn't stand a chance. To be honest, Caucasia's just much stronger than them, and Caucasia's just built different. Caucasia will then move up into the Azov nation, also capturing their capital. And then they move up a lot less into Russia, really only capturing a major city and a little land over here, as well as their capital. No, but now we go down to Rome, who will make the first move from the triangles, as Greece didn't really expect Rome to join this. Greece had sent forces up into the gold team in Caucasia, and as well as the Farmers Union. So, at first they're pushed back quite a bit. Same with the Farmers Union, except they had no forces down in Greece. This Dark Red Nation isn't actually going to help much, as Russia decides to focus its forces right here, out of all spots. So now that they've pushed in, now they're fighting three countries instead of two and a weak country. Over here, we see that the gold team, or the Azov, was not much of a threat to deal with at all, and already they're gone. And moving a bit north, with Russia now focusing its forces out, or having more forces to focus out east, or out west, we see Kazakhstan start pushing back Russia in the east, although Russia doesn't retain a foothold right here. Russia also will be able to have some advances into this light blue nation that go quite well. I'm not really sure who's going better over here. The 3-point star alliance, I mean they're really only funding Kazakhstan, but like the Pentagon alliance, they're letting trade go through them to get to Kazakhstan, which definitely helps out a lot in the case of these guys. Um, and now we see another small country get involved in this war. Definitely not a country who once had like at some point in its time has had like all of this, but yeah, if the Caspians, they're back. Although it's very slow and mostly coming from more towards this orange country. This not green, that country is completely captured over and not part of the official yet peace treaty, but they're fully annexed. And Russia's kind of mad at this. They declare war on Caspia, but I don't know. Maybe something's gonna happen. However, Caspia will be retaining their current capital. I think that was their capital originally. Alright, now moving up to Finland. We see them making their pushes in as well. They're having some success up in the north, obviously, because Finland versus Russia. We all know how that went. There's probably a white death, although they're probably Norwegian in this case. It's WICSO, so everything's slightly different. But we do see Poland is able to push into Russia only a little bit and only capturing a little bit of this major city right here. I should have left some. Alright, just gonna grab this country's color real quick. Alright. What did I say? Alright, like that. Alright, so we see this brown or this dark red country with the help of other countries around it. It starts to get some of its land back. The Farmers Union starts refocusing its forces and unfortunately has to invade into Rome. We see the same happening just a little bit up north as Germany also invades itself. We see something kind of weird happening. South Italians, not a fan of Rome. We should all know that. But despite not being fans of Rome and probably trying to join the 3-point star alliance right now, we see the Mediterranean country makes a landing inside of their country, and this may or may not be part of the whole plan, but we see West Africa doing quite the same. Alright, speaking of West Africa, coming down into this Ghana nation, it's not going well at all for the Ghana nation. As definitely not because troops are stationed over in these guys, but West Africans are having a lot of success pushing in, other than around the capital, where Ghana has all of its forces retreat and hold out. Alright, now coming out over here, we see America is definitely having a lot of fun pushing through the Californian country until about right here, where they call in a new ally to this war, which is of course going to be Alaska. Alaska will quickly be able to take over all of the areas up here in the north because that's probably what Alaska's been planning to do this whole time. Okay. And we see them joining, up with the 3-Point Star Alliance officially. Alright, down in West Mexico, it's not going too good at all, as the Red Mexican team has push, has captured the capital of West Mexico, pushed them almost all the way back to the Californian border, and even right here, Mexico starts to enter into California. California is completely kicked out of America, and then they start getting pushed into even more, and America gets about this far. There's not really any fighting going on down here, but where we do see fighting going on is when Australian ships are sent over into South Africa and make a landing right here. Because of course the ships are blue, from the blue team. Now, they also move up into this orange country and capture their capital. So the not the Trapezoid Alliance is also now activated against the Triangle Alliance. So it's technically a 3 versus 1 right now, and it's quite clear who's gonna end up winning this. But it's not gonna stay a 3 versus 1 for long. So we'll move on to a singular last event of this episode, which is actually not dealing with the World War right now, but just kidding. Yeah, Caspia's getting eyes now. People are starting to look at Caspia and like, okay, we need to watch these guys. And that goes away, and that goes away. So the world's got eyes out on Caspia right now, and it's very unclear how they're doing this. Like nobody knows how they got all these supplies. Could be the Russians, but why would the Russians invade their ally, who probably would have done nothing anyway? But that will do it for today's episode of What If Civilizations, or of alternate future of What If Civilization started over. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.